one for us.
How you doing? Everything seems to be working. Good morning, everyone. Here we are. Ground zero. Hi, Anna. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Is that too loud? That's a little too tinny. Welcome, everybody. Let's close our eyes just for about 2 seconds. We'll focus in, and then we'll jump into what we're doing here. And then we can extend to each other, extend to our friends on the internet, and then we can extend to all the different teachers throughout our life. And then we can extend to the different traditions we participate in, mix in our bodies. And then we extend to that dimension, the archetypal Sambhogakaya. We've been focusing a lot on the Guru, so we'll focus on that archetypical expression of primordial awareness. I'm glad everyone here. We're a little tiny group today, which is good, because then we can experiment more. So I hope you had a chance to look at that paper on pure vision, the pure vision of the Guru, a phenomenology of bewilderment. This is not whether you're good or bad or not, but who has read that so far? Who's looked at that? The pure vision. I think Amy sent it out. Amy sent it out. Did you send it out? Yes. Pure vision?
Yeah.
She sent it out? Okay, great.
You did it, Amy, last time.
You did. You sent it out. Pure vision, the Guru thing. Who's looked at that so far? No, there's not, the Tantra one. This is on the Guru itself. You guys did not get it, maybe? Pure vision, the pure vision of the Guru. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Did you send it out? But you sent it out, eh? Okay, yes. So let you guys see if you've got that. Maybe we'll send it out again. It's a new one. It's basically it's on the Guru, okay? And what pure vision is and what pure vision of the Guru is. So I'll get distracted for a moment, because one of the dilemmas is when there's the whole issue of purity. Purity in the very earliest aspects of the understanding of Dzogchen, and both even in Kazmir Shaivism, they speak about pure vision. And the idea of pure vision means actually direct vision. It means experiencing from awareness itself the beingness of being. So pure vision, kadig is the early word. The most, before anything else, space, it was the word kadig, the purity of the vision. And the purity of the vision means direct, and it's experience of awareness, experiencing awareness in a person. So if you even right now at this moment, if you go into pure vision, more or less, a little bit, you'll experience this pure space in you, a pure felt sense in you, pure space in you. And as that extends through you, and you feel it with the person next to you, a person across from you, or the room, or whatever, you will feel that same purity of the phenomena. Just as there's light in me and in you as awareness, there's light in everything and anything. And there's the phenomena that is being manifested by being. So in pure vision, the being of your being experiences the being of the other. And being is light and space. Say yes if that's making sense. And then in the whole history of Indian philosophy and all, any religions, they get very confused about pure. Because pure means I have to have certain type of bowel movements. In fact, I was telling me some guru said you had to have sweet-smelling poop, okay? This is true. This is true, okay? And that's distorted, okay? Or you have to be pure, your thoughts have to be pure, your motivations have to be pure, your feelings have to be pure, you have to have pure states of mind, and all that. Now, then you take a step from that, and when you begin thinking the pure vision of the Guru is exactly that vision that you're having right now, is the pure vision of the Guru. and then, but you start seeing how this starts emerging in traditions that the Guru as person, when you start having the Guru as person, the whole theme of that talk is the Guru is not a person. And once you make the Guru a person, you're going to enter states of bewilderment and problems, okay? And so when you start looking at the Guru as a person, remember when to this, the center, the men, and the dilemma was everyone was looking at the Guru as a pure person, and what's happening now. So when you look at the Guru as a person, and you expect to see the person as totally pure in thought, pure in knowledge of finances, pure in dharma, pure in theology, pure sexually, pure bowels, pure this and pure that, you're going to find yourself eventually falling into bewilderment because that person, whoever it is not making it. Are you with me? And that is a dilemma when people think the Guru is a person completely embodied in one person, rather than that through everything and anything the Guru manifests. The Guru comes through everyone. And if you're fortunate, you have teachers who the Guru comes through. You with me? And you have relatives who the Guru comes through. And you have a wonderful pet. And it comes through Snooky. You with me? And wherever you go, you see the Guru. So that's all. We've been elaborating that ad nauseum, but that's what that paper is a little visual summary of. Okay? Say yes if that's making sense. Yes. But the constant battle is what is purity, you with me? And what condemns purity is in order to avoid annihilation anxiety and all this other stuff, the superego gets very, very intense. And as we also know, most patriarchalness arises out of the superego also. Okay. You guys follow what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, so that's what that paper is about. I'd love you guys to read it, make it your own. You don't have to agree with anything, but it goes through a lot of the different dimensions of this issue. So one of the questions started off today, we're trying to move ahead here, and we'll do it is just briefly, who awakens awareness? Oh, you hear, oh, awakened awareness. Or if you look around in the room and you feel people here and you can feel that awakened awareness. You can feel the field. Awakened awareness is the field, right? Who awakens awareness? How does that happen? Okay, so from this frame, the guru awakens awareness. Primordial awareness in yourself is given the opening of awakened awareness. Or in another, you with me? Which simply says this another way. Most of us are in our mind alone. You with me? But you don't necessarily have to belong to a particular form of cult to have awakened awareness, okay? Because it is your own awareness that manifests itself in your mind, in your body, in your circumstances. And as it manifests itself in your mind and your body and your circumstances, you begin experiencing the phenomena of the field, space and energy, openness, the great compassion at one level, in the level of ordinary life, but also you begin to experience it. You start to have apparitional experience, archetypal experience, whatever that might mean for you. And then also you may be even getting the sense of pure potentiality. Right? You begin to be a multidimensional person, always more or less, right? So in this frame, it is the guru, which is your own awareness and the qualities of your own awareness. But the guru actually can infuse your mind also, right? The energy, you can have mind gnosis and awareness gnosis, as we've been talking about, right? The light of awareness infuses my mind, and over the years, my mind has more luminosity to it, more pure vision to it. I am a better person, more or less, okay? And so I integrate my mind into my heart, into my awareness. Then the dramatic thing happens, more or less, I can start to experience, through a human being itself. But also if I fall in love, whether I'm 8 years old or 38 years old or 108 years old, if I fall in love, pure being manifests through a being. That's why it's really useful at times to deconstruct the patriarchal and to deconstruct the theocentric frames. You with me? And not that sometimes they're not useful in holding transmission, but they themselves become more important than that which they're a medium for. Happens all the time. And they start becoming self-protective and containing the power of awareness as if they own it, or the power of the guru as if they own it. That's just what religions do. They own which doesn't really belong to them. They try and make it their own because it's a fun thing to do. We all do it. What do they call it when you take other people's stuff for writing? You steal? Plagiarizing. Yes, plagiarism is very popular as human beings. Papers here. You guys follow what I'm saying? But taking this just a little bit step further, whether the guru is in a formal tradition or not, makes no necessary. You don't need to know the word guru for this, okay? You don't need to know the word guru for this. But but as we amplify and articulate experience in different ways, in different mediums, then there's certain articulations that bring this forward. You with me? But in the Christian tradition, the Logos was the guru. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You with me? So the guru is that way. Or in the Old Testament, some of the great masters, like the guru comes through them and God. So there are a lot of ways of formulating this implicit stuff. But one way for our purposes here, we'd like to consider that the guru, which is primordial awareness itself, pure potentiality, manifesting everything and anything, including our own awareness in us as us, is manifesting that. But one of the functions between manifesting is revelation. The quality of the guru, which is primordial awareness, not my mind alone, is manifestation, understanding, and protection. And in that part, it's not just, and this can come into us, into our minds, and really influence our mind, that we really do understand more directly, And we do have an understanding more directly, and we have actually the experience of revelation, the unconcealment. Because part of being itself is to conceal and unconceal, the great drama of concealment and unconcealment that takes place all the time. And even if everything seems to be unconcealed for you, there's more to be unconcealed. This dynamic process of creation going on, life after life. But also, as we honor, just for our purposes here, the archetypal dimension, and we're calling this particular function of revelation, of manifestation, of givingness, and it's really self-manifestation, because it would begin to experience a bit more nuancefulness, how the relationship to the archetypical dimension is useful, or the relationship, our attunement to the primordial ground awareness is useful, or our relationship to the depth and breadth in each other is really useful, because awakeness comes relationally. Okay, everybody following this? Because we're going into Tantra again today, and like we've been trying to do, and also bringing up the sexual component we've been working on. But without a frame, you're going to get lost in this sea very quickly. So this is the first aspect of the frame. You guys follow what I'm saying? So the awakening of awareness, and you can see this in art, in literature, in sports, in the history of human beings, in their multidimensionality, and the way they enter different dimensions of themselves in this relational world, this arises. But this process here that we're taking here is a bit different than the than the dissociative approach. This is an incarnational approach, an embodiment approach, and the dissociative approach is you not this, and neither that too, and you basically dissociate from your mind, you dissociate from your body, you dissociate from everything, and you will find yourself in what Kant called a transcendental state, a very pure space. It is pure vision. It is pure vision. You with me? And it is a transcendental state, and there's powers in that, but it tends to be very monastic. You with me? In the history of spirit, especially Buddhism and the Indian stuff, were more monastic situations. So it became very dissociative and transcendental. And purity was everything else other than the transcendental state. Going too fast? No. So then the other movements throughout history are embodiment states. And you see this when the Tantras started arising. You also see it in Heraclitus, who Giorgio's wife wrote the dissertation on. I do have a copy of it. But how even in Greek philosophy and the early understanding of the Greeks' understanding of truth was aletheia. And aletheia is not the Thomistic adequatio intellectus thing, the adequation of my mind to what is, that realistic aspect of truth. It was aletheia, the revelation of experience, the revelation of being in all the different dramas that we have, right? Everybody following this?
Yes.
Great. So, so we're going to take this a little bit more, and we're going to focus on the guru, and then we're going to focus more going back on Tantra. And the very essence of Tantra, when everything is said and done, is integrating everything and anything, especially the instinctiveness, into the light of awareness, right? And how important that is to become liberated, to integrate the instincts into the light of awareness and not dissociate them. Because in a certain way, and as you read the first paragraph on Tantra, there's the column of light. How many people have a sense of the column of light here? Surely everyone has a sense of that, more or less, okay? That column. And then, and so in the column, one of the ways we deal with bad things is dissociative. If we put them out here, anger, lust, everything is not good, whatever that might be for you. Are you with me? And in that space of dissociation, there's a loss of vitalness. Because most of these texts, the texts, have to do with vitalness, or Qigong practice, vitalness. So vitalness, life force, a law of vital, is not incidental to the power of awareness. You take the vitalness out, you're gone. You're a goner, right? What happens as we're disappearing, slowly the vitalness is disappearing to one day it disappears, and then we move on into another dimension, or if we're lucky, we end in vitalness. So the vitalness, you pull into that which you're dissociating. You with me? And one of those things you have to learn to pull in sexuality. You with me? Because it'll be played out one way or the other way. And also, if it's just sheerly dissociated, there will not be the power of vitalness. Huh? And a lot of people in spirituality do not know how to integrate this. They try to be pure, and pure means not having the vital lust in your body, vitalness. You with me? Number two, on the other side of this, you will see people just doing the same thing with sexuality who are highly addictive. You with me? And they have to discharge every 15 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, the next 40 minutes. You with me? And so in addictive situations, you with me? Whatever the addiction might mean, but it's in sexuality, what happens is there is a constant need for discharge. I was giving a story last week about the little rats, you with me, and stimulus satiation, okay? But the issue of discharge, one of the ways we all deal with self-regulation issues is what? Discharge, right? Classical stuff. And some is discharged by eating more, drinking more, going to the bathroom more, sexuality more, all this, but there's a drivenness. There's a drivenness, okay? That drivenness is taking place because I'm not self-regulated, and I have to find some reason I have to find some way of self-regulating. Sexuality is one way, just using that right here, right? There's tons of papers on this, okay? So the question is then, how to integrate this SPHER of that into me. How to integrate that sexual energy, you with me? And how to integrate it in this column of light. Okay, that process of integration can be looked at different ways, but one way is called the Kundalini Shakti, the Kundalini process. It's the embodiment of the light and the integrating of the instincts, right? And as we integrate these instincts, there's more vitalism. And what happens at a certain point, we start bypassing the self-regulation discharge model, right? Raise that if that's making sense. And we start to feel attunement. So self-regulation comes more through attunement than through discharge. You with me? And then that starts to influence our life on many different levels in terms of the experience of being in this world as a more attuned person. You with me? And that attunement can be around sexuality, the attunement can be around food, the attunement can be around obsessive compulsive states. Here, just heard it knock back. All the different ways that people discharge, right? Raise your hands if this is clear, right? Even obsessive compulsive states, that hyper-containment is a way of trying to avoid discharge, but even by doing that is a form of hyper-arousal and connectedness. Now, so one of the things that happen in Tantra, in real Tantra, which is not the comic book Tantra that most of us are aware of, is the integration of these energies into this column of light. And as we get integrated, it then become more into attunement, and the purity of perception gets better. So what is the process? Like we did last week. And then we're going to go back into this a little further today. So one of the typical processes as the energy starts to awaken in us, as we start to have awakened awareness, okay? And awakened awareness can come by sitting next to a person who has awareness. Awakened awareness can come by staying up for days really working on this project and it comes through. Awakened awareness can come by falling in love. Awakened awareness can come by being terrified. In that moment of terror, you use an instinct you never used before and you beat the shit out of the fucking enemy to the point of death. And then you feel you have that capacity. And at that point, a lot of fear leaves you. Okay? You follow? So there's many ways of awakening awareness. But in this frame, we're always understanding that that is a revelation of the Guru. That is primordial awareness revealing itself to you through an event, through a relationship, through a meditation. But there is an experience of an unconcealment of my own potentiality. Yes, Tom?
Well, this is where cause and effect becomes really important. Like when you're down there and you're in the opening of the awareness is just random. It isn't because I'm doing this. And that's what I understand when I hear the lack of cause and effect.
Okay.
And we think that it happened because of this, and so we go out and try to beat somebody else up.
It could be that way, but raise your fist up again. Okay. It looks like I said to him, raise your fist up, and to experiment, he raised his fist up. And that could look like cause and effect. But from the point of view of primordial awareness, it's being manifested in me saying, raise your fist up, and you're doing it simultaneously.
Right.
Primordial awareness is simultaneously.
The external, it's the field.
It's the field.
And if you have the field when you're doing that, it gets...
Yes. The field is always saying everything. The field is always manifesting everything. To the degree that you have more attunement to the field, you have more empowerment to move through phenomena in synchronistic manners. Right? This is how Jung speaks about it.
Yeah.
Raise your hands if this is making some sense to you. Okay. Now, so that revelation in this frame, because there is a dependent origination thing that takes place. There's some causality at certain one level. But if you and I just focus on this causality, sometimes it's really useful, but sometimes in situations it's so determined. So there's a certain way that if you and I are tuning to the field that's manifesting this, then synchronicity can take place, and something that might not happen can happen because of attunement. And that, one way of talking about that is attunement to the field, but also in certain traditions, that is attuned, and it's different languages, whatever tradition, is being attuned to the Guru, okay? I'm going fast. This okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to read a text to the Guru, and then we'll eventually be moving ahead. But I wanted just to amplify how this, from this way, can be connected. But one thing about all this is these tantric language. When you go into tantric stuff, and almost all traditions do, the Kabbalah does, it uses twilight language, and it uses a twilight language which, if you just approach it from logic, it means nothing. That's why in any of this stuff, if you're only in your mind logically, you will not understand the text. You may be a good boy or a good girl, and you do these texts ad nauseum, repetitiously, like a lot of people I know do, and it kind of gives you eventually get really bored, and you think about other things when you're doing it, Or if you might have a good fortune and you really can feel into the text, which is beyond the text because awareness is there, you will then start getting energy from the text. But even better, if you're in awareness and you can start to feel your awareness opening up, it will help you understand the language, okay? I'm covering a lot of stuff fast today. But a few things, for instance, they speak this twilight language, is a secret language that is part of awareness, and a lot of, but the higher tantras, you really have to have this in Dzogchen, you have to have it. If you're in rational mind alone, it won't open up for you. And the more that means you're simply in your mind alone, so if I'm in my mind alone, it's not going to open up into me until awareness manifests in me and comes through me, either through you or from within me or an event. The awareness is what opens up. Being itself starts to reveal itself through me, through sound. Let's just do a little thing. What does this symbolize? What's cutting through?
Concepts, obscure instructions.
You're cutting through. Awareness is cutting through. All this is symbols of awareness. The fire of awareness is cutting through, either within yourself or with situations. You have the power, and it's also the power of cutting through where you open phenomena and you can feel the energy and you can feel the light. And you're embodying it. You're embodying it. Let's see. What does this symbolize?
Indestructible awareness.
Yes.
Indestructible awareness.
Whose awareness? Yours. This symbolizes, it's not always said though, it says indestructibleness. Because sometimes people have trouble saying it's your awareness. They get nervous, okay? Just the indestructibleness.
What is it?
It's a Vajra.
It's a function.
So this is a symbol of indestructible awareness. Immortality, unborn, Vajrakalaya, Vajrakamara, unborn, undying awareness. But this is all later. This is all in later tantrics. This is all in the later stuff. You'll see this same understanding in other traditions. That's why it's really good to think comparatively. Then you're not locked into one frame. Huh? So, unborn, undying, and to start to get glimpse of that. And another word for unborn and undying is timeless awareness. Anytime you and I touch timeless awareness, you will feel unborn and undying. And that slowly does what? It slowly dissolves annihilation anxiety, which we all know very, very well, huh? The- Forms, right? Vital forms. There's another paper. Did you guys read that one? You might want to read it sometime. 1, 2. So you guys lean into me, I will do a better job. Whenever we lean in, whenever we extend inside to inside, that is the feminine component. And this liminal language, this inner extension, is considered feminine. The masculine is more outside. The masculine is more analytic, more technical. And from this point of view, and the feminine is direct. The feminine, Dakini, is about the feminine gnosis, which is direct knowing of the field, because there's no space between us on the inside to inside. Right? You can feel that. In the indestructible original nature as it is, so in this indestructible original nature as it is, just as I am, and in this sphere, S-P-H-R-E, of the great Bindu, Bindu means a point of clear light, and sometimes it's clear light, and sometimes it may be this blue light, this clear space of light. And in this unchanging, innate ultimate deity, so this unchanging, innate ultimate deity, and by deity he means these archetypical dimensions, And there's this dimension, and then there's this archetypical dimension. It's like physics. It's the strings and all that, I remember Alan Wallace saying, you could have a deity as a string. Like string theory, your deity could be the string of string theory, manifesting the world. So I take refuge. That means this is where I go. I take refuge within this self-nature as it is. So I'm taking refuge within my own self-nature just as it is. And this, by doing this, I bring forth, I cultivate the sense of enlightened awareness. So if I start feeling the field more and more, I am actually cultivating enlightened awareness right now. So I'm connecting to Skip, to Carol, Tom, residence starts having more preference for me. The experience of direct resonance to it. So, seeing form through duality. So I begin to sense the form and formlessness through duality. I sense through duality this form, this sense. And this realm of sentient beings, appearances open being to us. So all appearances are doorways into experiencing being and the beingness of being. And then you can also use light or these other metaphors. And there's this one taste of this great self-awareness. And this one taste means I begin to experience this one taste. So even in suffering and in happiness, there's this one taste of presence, of primordial being that I'm constantly in. And so I give rise, it arises in me, I bring it forth, I give rise to the great compassion, the bodhicitta, and the great compassion that gives self-liberation to me. And self-liberation means in circumstances, I feel I'm not, though I'm in circumstances, I'm not so contained by the circumstance, and also in my mind, I'm not so contained by my mind. Liberation has that understanding of the lotus, where I'm in this circumstance, but I'm not so contained by it. I feel freedom within it. You with me? I'm not totally divine, and also the seat of the light. I can feel the light moving through everything. The sun, and I can also feel the moon. This exquisite, beautiful, soft, like affection. And from this sphere, S-P-H-R-E, a word I can never say, of the nature of openness, of this nature of pure openness, there's compassion's radiance. So in this understanding, everything, there's this openness, which you may be feeling now, uncluttered, you're not locked into your mind alone, and yet there's this radiance, radiating through our bodies and beyond our bodies. And then we ourselves, we can feel from, or expressions of this primordial awareness radiating us, manifesting us in all our circumstances. And to the degree that you are in connection with the radiance, to that degree there's more degrees of freedom for us for moving through this stuff. Then it says, Rang Rig Ring Leo Trope. And so all this appears as my own awareness. And all this is my own awareness manifesting. Not my mind. It's not because my mind is so awareness is manifesting in me as awareness. And then this mantra, Hari, H-R-I, arises. Hari, and from this the light shines forth. So throughout this entire text, there's a way that light keeps coming forth from our bodies. Huh? We can feel this in the most natural way, but some people have this light coming through them. You see this in very charismatic people, huh? That the light, you feel all this light and energy coming through them, huh? Remember one time at this, when it used to be the Shoreham over there, Sammy Davis Jr. this is a long time ago, was coming out playing, and I happened to be outside, and he comes out, and I'm hit with this wall of energy, as much as any great, this little bitty guy, boom, coming out. So this opening all the universe, so this opens all of the universe and all sentient beings into clear light for me. That means I begin to sense, actually, the light in a person, in myself, and in this field. Are you with me? It goes further than that, though, because as you and I know, as first of all, as it begins to, this vision begins to manifest that way, it also influences our mind. So our mind becomes more clearer. It destroys some of the other frames we've had. You with me? Loser frame, whatever. That frame starts to get dissolved by the radiance. Not always easy, intense. But you begin to see more clearly, not into your own character, but you also see the character of situations, and you see the character of people more. They're not exclusive. On one level, we're beyond good and evil, and good action and bad action, but as it influences our mind, we can see what the right action is, or the off action in the moment. You follow that? That's that close as we integrate our mind. Some people only stay in pure awareness. You with me? They're not very good in the world. You have to feed them, and they can chant maybe or stuff. But to really be in the world, you have to have your mind integrated. Then you can experience duality within non-duality, and non-duality within duality. Or as Rang Champa would say, primordial gnosis of awareness brings forth gnosis of mind. Raise your hands if that's making sense. And maybe you're experiencing that, huh? So then it says this. I'm sorry to take so much time, but all objective appearances are the guru. All objective experiences are the guru. And using the word pamasam, Dzogchen, Pedmaya. What? And now they're talking pantheism, okay? Every place you go, everything you see is the primordial guru manifesting itself in you, whether it's a wise phase, a beautiful phase, a terrifying phase. All this entire world is the embodiment of the power of awareness, which is the doorways of liberation. You with me? Of freedom, non-duality. Okay. This, so I like this text because it really helps us not think the guru is simply one person, huh? Because when you think it's one person and you think the person knows everything, he's the one who knows, what arises from that is you don't know, and you start giving the authority of your existence, you give the authority of agency to that person. Giving the authority of agency to that person means obedience. Obedience sounds nice, doesn't it? But actually, when you give up self-agency, that is called obedience. It's one of the best ways of having no, and then whatever this person says or does, and you also give up being the one that does know. And this happens. And then this is really, really happens, okay? And then when you start giving up self-agency, and what happens very easy with that, you start going from master-disciple relationship into master-slave relationship. You with me? And you start having a slave mentality. Or as Hegel in his great book, The Phenomenology of Spirit, the first 5 chapters are on absolute awareness. And he goes into having absolute awareness. You have awareness of the absolute. And then it gets personified as Fran. Okay? And then now absolute awareness is now in Fran. You with me? At that point, as that's happening in Fran, I am now sliding into obedience, and now she's the one who knows, and also my attunement to her is primarily through obedience. Say yes if you understand that, okay? Now, then you see people going through this. Now, in the center, I'm sorry to take so long, but we got, in the center of this perfect palace, that right now this room can be considered a perfect palace. You with me? Or it also in a few minutes can be a charnel ground, a hell realm. You with me? So they always are describing in these texts a perfect palace, luminous, and a charnel ground. Samsara and nirvana are exactly the same place, okay? Depending how we're experiencing what's going down. So in the center of this perfect palace, with all its characteristics, on the lotus, sun, and moon. Again, the lotus is the seat where it means you are not contained in this shit. You with me? You're free. You might be in shit up to your nose. It's really going down bad, but you feel freedom in that. You with me? And you feel agency in that. You're still in shit. S-H-I-T. It may be luminous, but it's shit, and it stinks, and it can be pure because you see the purity of being as that shit, but it does stink. Number 2, I thought was very interesting when Sharon told me that. And then the sun, the light of the sun, is also the light of the radiance, the power of that radiance. And the power of that radiance coming through you, what really brings you, and it's the power of the solar energies, okay? In that eclipse, the power of the solar energy is going to be wiped out for a little while. A lot will take place. And then it's also the power of the moon. And the moon, when you feel that come through you, is this exquisite, soft light that's often associated with the mother, this exquisite affection, huh? Now, so self-nature, okay, so the syllable re instantly transforms into self-nature, the immortal guru. Now here, the first one was the guru as Namanikaya in the world, and now the guru is Tengsan Sol. That's another form. That's the guru is Sambhogakaya level. So now it's the Sambhogakaya dimension arising. So you might see apparitions, you might have dreams. It doesn't mean it has to, but those dreams have the power of self-revelation, right? That's what it really means. And you can see people like Freud and Jung, who are real tantrics, slowly entering into these domains. And for Jung, the big thing was, Freud always said, no, this is straight psychology. You know, it's the generational field. And then for Jung, starting to say, wait a minute, there's something here. Yes, it is collective unconscious, but there's something else where it is being itself manifesting. It is cosmology coming into this story. Raise your hands if you're not asleep, if this is making sense. So part of Tantra is being in a cosmological realm. Okay, now, and then it has a rosy white complexion. Rosy white takes place here in the heart center, right? So last week we were going through this. We start extending. So the first center we extend through is the lower center, right? We extend it through the lower center, and we're extending it with each other because two awarenesses are better than one. And through the actual extension of that energy, which is so direct and so powerful, there will be a natural awakening of the energy. Like two energies meet, whoom, two awarenesses are better than one. Two create the third. Even in psychoanalysis, they understand the field becomes stronger. The third is created because of two, right? The third. It's the same thing we're talking about here. The third creates this, so that energy starts to awaken and arise. Now, as the energy awakens there, two components. One can be going into the ground component, and you start really experiencing ground awareness. And you're going to feel energy waking here, and you're going to start feeling the energy going through the perineum. You're still very physical form, but you're starting to feel groundedness. You with me? Most people here and most people in these spiritual traditions aren't grounded enough. They're up and not down. You with me? And the heart itself is not supported. So through the awakening of the lower centers, okay, ground awareness is open. Now sometimes if you've been a pro at this, you can feel that and you won't necessarily experience the sexual intensity so much. But if suddenly you have awakened awareness for whatever reason, okay, then the power of sexuality is going to really open up and you're going to go, wow, wow. So sometimes people search for yogis to get awakened awareness in order to have more fun sex. You with me? Because it opens up the sexual center. Just like as it comes here, it's going to open up the heart center. Just like as it comes up here, it's going to open up the vision. So it is like it's an opener. It is an opener. So we can say the guru, that energy is manifesting here, both at the Manakaya level, but maybe also it's at the Sambhogakaya also, because people do that in this room. So that energy opens up, and it can be intensely sexual or it can be intensely grounded. But at this point, as this unfolds in the beginning, sexuality is a function of desire, okay, and the objects of desire. So as this opens up here, the objects of desire, you might not know what they are or who they are, but it could be first grade, second grade, third grade, high school, whatever that might be, mom, dad, the dog, all sorts of things, Fido, I'll tell you a story about this time. So as this awakens, a lot of intense sexuality arises. You with me? And really, it's so intense. And if you don't know what's happening, it can lead you in lots of very sundry adventures. You with me? But the energy will awaken, but it gets stuck here. The most difficult door is the door of the Dantian. You with me? And so as the energy awakens there, it will start to resonate and become very powerful, and then it comes up here. So last week we asked people to put their fingers here and send the energy, helps open up this door. But most people are here, the door is open for them. So as that door opens, it opens up the energy, and the energy can begin to flow into the rest of the body. Even in Qigong, when you do this, and Qigong is tantric, is a totally tantric practice, when you start holding the energy here, and they say you are keeping the energy, you're sustaining the energy, you're packing the energy. Actually, what you're doing is you're opening up the Dantian, okay? It seems like you're packing the energy, but in truth, when you start taking all the energy you did and you put that there, you are opening up the Dantian. So there'll be more energy opening, and this channel starts to open. There are 3 channels. Here in the center, and here, comes up this way, and through the center, okay? So now, sex and desire. Either your desire for me or my desire for you. But desire is what? And it's usually earlier objects. It's fashioned around chemistry. Chemistry. The chemistry made me do it. Or no chemistry here. So chemistry. When people are using chemistry from this frame, there's a location here in this center, and one does not have the freedom from the chemistry, whatever that configuration is for you. Say yes if you understand. You don't have to believe it, but that's how the tantrics understand. So then it opens up, and then the energy starts, and up to this point, wherever time you have sexuality, intensity, you always have desire, and you have out of the Freudian frame, which is so excellent, this vast tension, unbearable tension, in order to discharge, and then you're free of the tension. Thank you, Jesus. Okay? So the energy is here, it starts to open up, and it starts to move up, and you start to really feel a really great experience as it moves up. Perhaps you're feeling it. It starts to move up. We actually spoke about the big draw. I forget his name, Manchek Chia. So, but it's not a big draw. And if you don't have awakened awareness, you'll be doing all this stuff, bouncing in your butt, but nothing's going to happen. It's when the field of awareness is there that something happens here immediately. Because this is the field expanding through your body, the light expanding and becoming embodied. Say yes if you understand what I'm saying there. So now the field's coming up. And then an amazing thing happens. Amazing thing. You begin to experience eros, sexuality, lust, but no desire. You have this energy. But it's not going anyplace. It's just there. And it's coming up, and it's strong. It has a challenge to it. But there is no desire. It's not a function of your own desire or someone else's desire. Because at this point, the objects, the early historical objects, have been gone beyond, as I say, left. So there is a tremendous relief from early past life. You with me? If you tolerate this sort of thing. So then the energy starts arising up. There'll be events that will challenge you to go back, by the way, to those objects, okay? And you can either do it out of habituation or self-esteem issues, or because you got it because you are obedient and all that kind of stuff. You with me? But if you don't go back to the same, because there's always agencies involved in everything in this stuff. And if you have the agency not to go back and reiterate it, it's going to keep moving, because this is liberation. This is the light liberating us. Then it comes up here, and here I always like this little doorway. This is where the energy comes. It comes through the doorway. Now, people are always worried about it coming up the right way. It will come up naturally if you're just staying with the energy, and it's coming up, and it comes into here. Then the intensity of the sexuality begins to disappear, and it becomes light. And there's the rose color begins to arise in your life. You see, there's rose-colored glasses, right? See that? And you see this. So this rose starts to come through, and the light starts to come, because now there is this union, this deeper union, because now you're entering source. This is the source here. And the source, her dhyam is here, direct perception's here, the energies are here, and now there's a union of a psychosomatic union with this area, and now my body is now really starting to become the body of light. And I'm an ordinary person. I'm the most ordinary person, and if I think I'm not so ordinary, I'm already getting fucked up. Are you with me? Going down the drain to be something special, or chosen, something like that. Okay, you follow what I'm saying? Back to dog land. So then, but as it rises up, then more energy starts to come here. Now, this is not always easy. You think you're having heart attacks, so I would, because I'm hypochondriacal. Oh my God! And time to go for a checkup. So this all starts getting stretched. Now, if you're actually doing some of these Dakini mantras like Mahari Nisa Siddhi Hung, and you put Ma here, Ma, Ha, Ri, Ni, Sa, and you start doing it, it helps open the doorway up more. Or you're sitting next to a person and her heart's open, or his heart is open, or your dog's heart is open, and you have that resonance to the heart. It also opens that way. Or sky or wing. It is not one thing. Or if you happen to have a teacher who's not omnipotent and know that he's a vehicle, you with me? And he can be wild and crazy person. Yesterday was Bhagavan Nityananda's birthday. He was a wild and crazy person. You with me? No clothes. He'd be locked up if he was in downtown D.C. or maybe, or used to be, but and he would do all. But he had this vast amount of energy and resonance, a master of resonance. So you have love. Someone loves you. Love is resonance, right? So then it starts going here. Now it starts expanding, and none of this is so linear as I'm presenting it, and it starts expanding to the throat. And here as it comes up here, this is not always easy here, and sometimes it will bypass the throat and go to the palate first, third eye. It's often the throat is the last place for some reason. This takes care of it. It kind of jumps around. But it goes to the palate, then you start having the palate starts to open up, and you start feeling amrita, and you start feeling more than a blissful state in spite of everything and anything. Then it goes here, and it starts opening up more. The throat will also open up for you the dream states. It is a dream state, but the dream state is very connected to the apparitional states. So for instance, if you read Anam K. Norble's wonderful stuff, most of his terms are given in dream states. But those dream states are not regular dream states. They're apparitional states. They are big dreams. How many people have had a big dream at least one time in their life? Big dreams. So these big dreams, and you see Jung had big dreams. So this center is now opening up, and you start to actually experience the reality of the Sambhogakaya level, But you're becoming more and more accessing the realm of the light, arising, and the configurations of the light. And then it goes into higher here, and then you can see more and more also. And sometimes you can bring the energy down this way, but you're actually seeing more direct perception, not only through the eyes, but through the third eye. The third eye is the eye of, you have Buddha eye, it's called sometimes, and things. You start having direct perception. It means you just know. And sometimes people know because they see forms come. Sometimes people know because they have feelings, kinesthetic experiences. But you start knowing. You with me? But also as the light comes up, it comes up through two little channels. And this is very important. That's when you touch these channels in each other. It feels so good as it opens up and it comes into your eyes, because then you have direct perception through your eyes. And this is really where Dzogchen, Shaivism, and these great tantric texts, you start seeing, and it's not just the third eye transitional, transcendental state coming through that above. You start seeing through eyes, because they understand human awareness is primordial awareness manifesting in a human being, right? And so you start seeing through human eyes. And as your mind's there, also, your mind is there, you start experiencing whatever you want to call that in everyone and everything, even your enemies, right? Now it also starts going above the head, 3 feet above the head, and then 9 feet above the head. That column gets deeper and longer as you go through this, okay? But as this progresses, the fear of annihilation, the fear of death, begins to dissolve. It doesn't mean you want to go. One time I was at a place, and the guy says, "Okay, who wants to stay here? Who wants to leave?" And everybody raised their hands up. They wanted to leave. Holy shit! I don't want to go. I don't want to leave. It was one of the down days in Siddha Yoga. That's what Baba had left. And not my group here anymore. Took a cab. Keep moving. Keeping moving. And when you have this Kundalini arising stuff, you can keep moving. because it is movement and stillness simultaneous. This making sense?
Yes.
Now, we're going to pause for a minute. Let's pair up. Because none of this, I didn't read this, because you want to go beyond, like most people don't. You with me? I've had a lot of lamas, different lamas, would be lamas. You know, not a lot, but yogis, tantrics. But actually, tantra. Oh, one more thing. I want to pay attention. As you go above here, into the heart center, you get a gift. You get a gift. And this is a really great gift. As it goes into the heart center, a gift arises. Someone had left. Sorry. And the gift is this. You can sexualize whomever you want to. You can sexualize whomever you want to, because it is not determined by the object relationships. Yeah. So there is a freedom of sexualizing whom you want to. Okay? Who fits. You with me? So it's not drivenness, but there's this capacity to sexualize a person or whomever. Raise your hands if you're understanding what I'm saying. So that gives the power in the rat studies, continuity of the energy. You with me? Continuity. Because person, and there's a ever freshening. So one is not always in sexuality, but one can bring forth, invoke, as I describe in that paper on desire. You can bring forth, and if sexualization of the moment, of a situation, of a relationship, you can bring eros into that person. Okay? It also allows you to see eros every place, because eros is a natural state. I don't mean sexual driven obsessive compulsiveness, but the world has an erotic flavor, eros. You start feeling like you're living in eros, which is blissful and nectarian. And that's why what accompanies you when the heart chakra is open is a sense of inner sensuousness. Raise your hands if you understand this. That inner sensuousness is a gift. You with me? And that sensuousness, you're no longer negotiating sensuality or eros in regards to the sexual system as such. You with me? This is really important to know. But it's not me and me and he and she and he and he and he in the ordinary sense. That is possible, completely possible. But it's not simply a function of the lower centers, because it's pervasive now. Say yes if you know this. This is something you really want to know, okay? Everybody following this? So now we're going to work again this way. And so I'm going to ask you guys, first of all, to lean into me and the group. So just lean into everybody. Then let's extend the energy, the awareness from the lower center. Extend the energy. Then you can allow yourself to feel whatever you're going to feel. You extend the energy. I will say this to you. As you extend the energy, and remind me to tell Barbara what I said after. I was saying that a gift is given as it goes into the heart, and that gift is that you have the power of eroticizing whomever and whatever if you want to. You with me? And it's a gift. You're no longer contained by historical object frames. You with me? Also known as chemistry. So this natural eros arises, and you feel it in your life in a very pervasive way. So we're now extending to the lower body. Now, we can go up the centers like we did last time, but I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to use two metaphors. These are just metaphors. And the first metaphor is called the big draw. Okay? So just feel extend the energy, and then feel your capacity and the mirroring of this with your companion, drawing the energy up. Now when you're saying energy, there's the lower energy, there's the aliveness of the energy as the field, Kundalini. And let us, and I'll be doing it with you guys on the TV here. We can all do it together. Extending to you, ground, and then we start to draw it up. And it's a very subtle circular drawing up. Coming to the Dantian. You can also feel the magnetism in your body magnetizing the energy as you go up. Every time we magnetize, we get actually more energy. It actually opens us as it opens the other person. And now it's coming up to the belly. And we'll do this longer next time. Up. And I'm actually making a little circular gesture, just that helps. Now it's coming up through the throat, palate, head. There are other variations of this too. You can circle it around, but we're not going to do that right now. Raise your hands if you felt the draw. Raise your hands if you felt the draw. Okay. So one metaphor is the big draw, or just drawing it up. And as you're drawing up, you also you can feel the resonance, and you can feel some magnetization. And you can draw it up level by level, or you can draw the whole thing. You lock it in. You lock your vision in the lower center, and then you come up without it leaving the lower center too. We'll go with this other times too now. Now there's one other thing you will hear and see, and you will start to realize that sexuality itself and the tantric metaphors are simply twilight language. They're not really talking about, when they're talking about the Vajra and the lotus, okay? It may seem, and some people think they're actually talking about the penis and the vagina. That is not what they're really talking about, okay? Many people think that, including Tibetans may even think that. It is a step beyond that what they're talking about. In using this language, because no one's copulating here at this moment, okay? And so as it moves up, you're experiencing opening. So I'm going to use another metaphor they use, okay? And the metaphor is the Vajra in the lotus, okay? But it is just a metaphor. It is actually a step that's going to take place where in the field that they're in, you're going to allow yourself to bring or pull energy from the person, with the person. But you're not just pulling the field. There is an energy, an amrita. There's an energy within each person. You with me? And you allow yourself to feel yourself bringing this energy. And so they use the symbol of sexuality, and then the person pulls the energy up, and the companion pulls the energy up, and they're mutually pulling the energy from each other, and they're using a sexual metaphor. It can be done that way, but that's quite incidental and not essential to this. It is not unlike the heart drops. Yes, it is very similar to the heart drops. Say yes if you understand this. So you can bring that energy up. You will feel a vital element arising. These are where they're dealing with the elements, huh? Elements. The elementalness. And you can bring that element in and let it come up through your body. And the elementalness, sometimes the most basic aspect of the elementalness, as Jung would speak about in Mysterious Conjunctio, and this is the Mysterious Conjunctio, is the Mysterious Conjunctio of the masculine and feminine energies. Very hard to define those, isn't it, huh? Like sun and the moon energies. But there will be a feeling in each person, each of you, a feeling of the union of the energy taking place in your own body. That is really where the union takes place, in your own body, of the masculine and feminine energies. When you feel the balancing of the masculine and feminine energies, that really is a place of liberation. Now, we've gone a long way fast. And we'll now pass the microphone around. Don't know why I'm speaking this way. Okay, so I'm going to pass it to Skip first, okay? And then Mimi. But you're going to listen to what they say. Stay in your state. And just notice if you're not feeling a union in your body, or kind of a, even maybe hard to put a word, but a more felt sense of union or cohesiveness, compatibility, dynamic comfort as these energies of the masculine and feminine are in you in union. So we'll talk to Skip first, okay? Skip, would you mind describing your experience? That's why this is not simply gender specific.
So as I was extending from the lower center and drawing from the lower center at the same time, and then raising that extension and draw, I don't know how else to put it, resonance up. There was a, I want to call it in sort of an increased balance in the masculine and feminine energy.
For you?
For me.
So there's an amplification that just took place, a fullness.
Being held simultaneously. And that started expanding the central column more and more.
Fantastic. Say more about the expansion of the central column.
as so it's just kind of like, extension, magnetization, drawing in. That in and of itself is expanding, and then holding the masculine and feminine, I might say equally or indistinguishable,
And simultaneously.
simultaneously. The central column just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
What's it like to feel that extending up through the rest of your body naturally? That it starts opening all the way up.
It's invigorating. It's expansive. It's like there's more resonance outside. It goes further inside. It's hard to describe.
Simultaneously.
Yes.
One thing he's also saying is that this practice can be simply Namadakaya, but more often that when it's really working, it is Sambhogakaya within Namadakaya. It starts bringing both those dimensions into further union. You with me? And it's not like this is in our mind. We're in the symbolic function. This is a symbolic function. But some people, the symbolic function is my mind, I raise little lights or something. No, if I'm in my mind raising little lights, who cares? But if I'm in the symbolic function, it's very, very powerful. So we're entering simultaneous function. Mimi, what's happening for you?
It's an awareness and a felt sense of the it's like the union of the masculine and the feminine as embodiment of both the vertical axis through the central channel and also the sphere of the round in completeness.
Completeness is a really good word.
Mm-hmm.
But just stay with that. Anything else you want to say?
Well, it's like there's an immense ground and also openness at the same time.
So she's experiencing the ground and the openness of the ground, huh?
Embodied.
Embodied. So she's in the realm, huh? And she's in the realm of the flesh and the archetypical realms simultaneously, and that's how she's articulating this embodied state. Okay. Now I'm just going to pass the microphone around just to hear different people share their experience. It won't necessarily be the couples as such, so would you mind, love, describing your experience?
First of all, I saw tiny little points of moving white light that were enveloping Erin and myself. And then I saw that there was a golden light as well enveloping us. I feel deeply and completely embodied. I feel the gratitude and the truth that this eros is not directed toward an object, that it's mine. I feel as Erin and I mingle our energies that it enhances everything that's happening to me as we mingle with each other. As I enter my heart, I feel so much deep love, and my heart just melts. As I enter my third eye, I feel trust in what will unfold for me in the future. I don't need to see what it is. And as I enter my crown with this energy, I feel my oneness with spirit.
Beautifully described. Yeah. Hi, Anna. You can stay in. What's happening for you? Because this doesn't necessarily need a person there either, right? What's it like for you?
So I recognize what people said. I feel deeply embodied, but so vast openness, but I feel form. And then as the energy came up, I started having strong visual experiences. I guess how Mimi, so she said the vertical and the
Yes.
horizontal, I had huge crosses. I could see them like
Yeah.
coming out from the dark. And then the ocean, and then I kept seeing those huge fish skeletons, so it was kind of formless, and then fish skeletons was an illusion.
Like an apparitional experience manifesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I was trying to understand it as people were talking, and then huge mountains with opening on the top, and it was almost like I was dropping into the top of the mountain and then expanding into the dark, but in a very felt sense way.
Yes. You could feel the power of the mountain-like awareness. Are you still in that right now?
Mm-hmm.
What's it like to be in mountain-like awareness right now, in the earth element at this moment?
It feels completely contained but open and sensuous, as you called it.
Yes.
Like this softness,
Yes.
velvety.
Yes. Now, as she's describing this, she's also describing her way of being in the multidimensional world right now. Great, thank you. And let me expand this to see someone else here. Let's see, who could we do this? Let's ask Martha. Would you mind describing your experience? Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Mostly, well, I didn't really want you to pick me, okay? Yeah, and mainly what I experienced during this was just some energy in my lower chakra, and that's kind of new for me. It is new for me, so I was sort of just trying to be with that and just to be there. And then when you had us doing the circular motion, that actually helped me to kind of pull a slight little string and pull it up.
It's helping us all because Skip and Patricia have been practicing for 1,000 years, okay? And they're really, really good. And Mimi's really there. But so you're a little newer. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
But just feeling the energy in and of itself, right? And then playing with that tiny draw. You with me? But you can feel how you're actually in the field as this is taking place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel that union of the energy in the field emerging in your body. So what's happening to you right now as you and I are talking? What's happening for you at this moment?
I feel kind of an extension of my body feels like it's extended. And
Is it extended into your companion? Just extended?
it's just sort of like extended out into the room.
What is it like to feel that, and it's something that Melaponte would call the intercorporeal moment, that you're having an intercorporeal experience. You extend it into the room of the beings, but it is in the room and it's corporeal. I love the word intercorporeal. What's it like having this experience?
The first word that came to me when you asked that was a fearlessness.
Fearlessness.
Like to be out there and not to be afraid.
To be out there and not afraid. Let's just stay with that just for a moment. So now as we pause, she's metabolizing it, making it even more making it not just in her mind, but it rose out of her experience, but then we're bringing it back down into her experience. And as you're keeping it in your experience, what happens next?
Hmm.
And what's happening now?
Well, it feels like now all of that extension and that energy now sort of kind of zapped into my body.
Yep, you slurped it.
Yep,
And
kind
what's
of.
that like as it's come back into you now? What happens next?
There feels my column feels really tall, and it feels like it's strength, actually.
An elongated and a strength. Great. Could you pass the mic back?
Mm-hmm.
So here she is working on awareness, embodied awareness, and she's working on it very directly, and you can feel the field, and Patricia's description, also the field, honest description of the field. We feel the horizontal, and you can actually hear it and see the horizontal and the vertical, and it's all these elaborations of our awareness embodied and being sustained. So we're just going to focus just for a minute. Now, I'm going to read you one more thing. And the next time we'll meet, we'll go back to the Tantras. But I can't find my little book. Oh, here it is. And I'm using words here, but you can feel this, how to work it. I'm going to read this briefly a little bit, and then we will talk. And I'm just going to read this invocation of the Guru again, as the Lama. By Guru, Lama, I'm not meaning a person, I'm not meaning an outfit, I mean this quality of awareness that we have. Patricia used the word spirit, oneness with spirit. Really great word for this, whatever words are fitting. So this is calling the Lama from afar, a spontaneous song of the original nature. And I'm going over this because I really want everyone to know this way of understanding the Guru rather than being a person. And more often than not, this person is in a theocratic, patriarchal frame. Whatever the traditions. And those days are numbered, more or less. The essence, this is Dzogchen Rinpoche's story, the essence, primordially unchanging. So the primordial essence is primordially unchanging. It's always there. It doesn't mean it's dead, like some people think unchanged means it's dead, there's no movement. No, it's not. It's just like you. You're the same essence, though you're moving all these different forms, but you're the same exact essence. Sometimes in early Buddhism and stuff, they thought unchanging meant nothing. If you breathed, any change, any movement was bad. So the essence, primordially unchanging, this innate nature, it dwells as the youthful Vaspati, Bum Koro. The youthful Vaspati of light, actually, because Ru is light. The originally pure, profound clarity. You can feel that in you, as you. And this is Dharmakaya Lama. Yesidorje, you who know, as primordial wisdom indestructible. And that is knowingness as the Dharmakaya. So the Dharmakaya Lama, the Dharmakaya Guru, is that realm of potentiality in you, as you, in moi. And it's self-manifesting as us. So in a certain way, I am self-manifesting me. Please grant the blessings to attain great confidence in the view. So here we want to experience confidence in the view. And confidence doesn't mean believing in the view. It means because I'm experiencing the view. Confidence does not mean believing in the view. It means I'm experiencing this. So when Patricia's talking, I experienced it. And this nature, unceasing, conjoined configuration of luminous clarity. So this nature, who am I? Who I am, is conjoined configuration of this luminous clarity. I'm light in energy. And it dwells as a manifestation of the spontaneous present. Wow. It's a manifestation in the spontaneous present. That's right now. Then it says, Sambhogakaya Lama, Dechandorje, you who know. So Sambhogakaya Lama, Sambhogakaya Guru, great bliss. So this bliss that I'm feeling is the Guru, the energy. Please grant the blessings that I can perfect my ability in meditation. So I'm invoking that dimension to have the skill of becoming aware of awareness. Then it continues on. Togje Tor. The compassion, this compassion has no bias. This primordial wisdom, free from all limitations. So there's great compassion, there's great capacity of awareness to extend itself into everything and anything and manifesting it, and it has no prejudice. This compassion is actually beyond right and wrong, good and evil, better and best, between good guys and bad guys, between those that belong to me and the others, right? It is unbound universality, right? So a lot of us have compassion, right, for the ones that belong to us. But it's really stretching us to go beyond nepotism, right? You ever feel that challenge? Okay. So it dwells as the essence of all-pervading naked awareness openness. So this compassion dwells as the essence of all-pervasive naked awareness openness. Namanakaya Lama, that's the Lama of this level. Duo Lingpa, you know. And this means Namanakaya Lama, or Guru, the tamer of beings. Huh? And so this energy will come through people, persons, and events that allow us to be liberated. Huh? It's actually, the tamer is really the liberator of beings. The liberator of beings. Please grant the blessings to accomplish progress in action. This is very important because part of the power of the Guru is the power of accomplishment. This is an accomplishment thing. And without accomplishment, nothing happens. So this is not waiting for Godot or whatever happens is okay. You with me? The actual manifestation of primordial light in this world is us. We actually are the manifestations of primordial light in the world. And the actions we take, we want them to have accomplishment. Say yes if you understand that. Or as the Shaivites say, knowledge is action. The primordial ground of one's own awareness is unchanging yet moving. So there is this stillness and movement, this paradox. Even at this moment as I'm talking here, to be feeling stillness and movement in this life is fantastic. So whatever arises is an expression of the Dharmakaya, and it's neither good or bad. So at one level, no matter whatever happens at this most basic level of non-duality, is neither good or bad. Huh? all this stuff with North Korea is neither good or bad at this level, right? And then, but experiencing at the level of duality, then we have discrimination of the light and power to come through. Whatever arises is an expression of the Dharmakaya, huh? And this is really useful to see whatever, that will give us fearless. Whatever arises is the Dharmakaya Guru. That's Guru Dharma, huh? Whatever arises, I see, is the Guru manifesting. And I am up for it. Or as Dujim, just like the Qigong master, Yanshin would say, never see anything as unbearable. Do not see any situation as unbearable. Then, since awareness of nowness is actually the Buddha, so this is liberating. The Buddha is not a guy, or whoever he was, he died in the 5th century. The Buddha is nowness. The completely free, serene Lama is revealed as my own, as one's innermost heart. So my innermost heart is the Guru, is the Lama. If you can actually hold that and take that authority, you will leave dogness. So my original mind, when the original awareness is realized, is the very nature of the Lama. See if we can realize it at this moment. When your original awareness, it's always been there, even before you were born, coming into beingness, is the very nature of the Lama. Then there's no need for whining, contrived prayers made with grasping and attachment. More, please, more, right now, and hurry up. By letting go in the free natural flow of uncontrived awareness, by letting go in the free flow of natural uncontrived awareness, the blessings of self-liberation are given. So it's interesting that everything is given. Everything is given. And through the fabricated practice, there's no time to achieve enlightenment. Thus, meditation produced through mental analysis and intellect alone is a deceiving enemy. So now conceptualization falls apart with the abandonment of a mad person. That's why madness is part of all this. And let this life be spent in the state of uninhibited natural ease. Give up your superego. Whatever one does, joyfully. Have fun. This is the practitioner of the great perfection, the completeness. In any company, find your happiness. Lineage, son and daughter of the lotus born. That means that you're connected to this lineage of the lotus born, meaning this pure awareness frame, whatever tradition it is. And it's a protector without rival. And again, if you don't feel protected through this awareness or through whatever you're studying with or whoever you're studying with, consider moving on. Great treasure revealing Lama. Teachings beyond compare. Heart essence of the Dakinis. Having dispelled the heart's darkness, having dispelled Rigpa means ignorance, not knowing, not feeling the light of awareness, the energy, the field. This undiminished sun of luminous clarity shines continuously within you. And this is the good fortune, the kindness of the Lama, the only Father. So here the person's actually thanking the Lama or the teachers in his life, right? There's a paradox here, but he's thanking them all. Unrepayable kindness. Remember the Guru, the Lama. Great. So anybody want to say anything as we end up today?
Thank you.
We'll sit for a few minutes. So just like we we brought the energy in to the lower center through that sexual metaphor, the Vajra in the lotus, let's bring the energy in through our whole body around us. Or as Mr. Ma said this morning, breathe the energy in. But you want to be in the awareness state, because then it can come to you very directly. Invoking the Guru and all the different archetypical energies that you love, whatever that might be. Anybody want to say anything else? Please do if you want. You can just say it out loud, yes.
I just wanted to say that I feel my every nerve ending in my body in this sort of circular way, and then the whole room with everybody in it around, and it's just an exquisite feeling.
I love that word, exquisite. And just what you're describing, that is Tantra right there. That is essentially it right there. And then it moves with you as you move through all the different events. And it can come through events. Someone else want to share something else? Yes, pass it over to
Carol. In the very last part you were talking about where you said nothing is unbearable, and when you said that, I began to get this swelling feeling in my heart and a great sense of well-being, that everything is perfect just as it is right at this moment, and I don't need anything else but the awareness in my heart to have this well-being. And it was just a beautiful flowing, kind of flowing out from my heart and enveloping me and Fran and everyone. It was beautiful.
Because when it does open for us, it is really complete. That is the great perfection, completeness, just as we are. Thank you. Somebody else want to share an experience? Anybody from the other side? Thank you, guys. So, like seeing everybody on. The picture's really clear today on the internet. Don't know why, but you guys look great. So, we'll meet again next Wednesday. And I think next Thursday, Friday, is that when that Lama's coming? The 8th?
August 18th.
August 18th. I would go to see that. He's I've always known of his teacher, Punznik. He was a really great Dzogchen master. And I actually studied with a person who Punznik was his master. He was a very natural person, and he was a great transmitter of the energy. So I would go that. Then also at Jetsuma's place. That's the Nyingma Monastery in Poolsville. He's going to speak there Wednesday night, I think 6:30 or something like that, on Dzogchen. That's a topic I would have really liked to have heard. The topic of Dzogchen. He's also a master of past life stuff. He's been a person who studied with the University of Virginia, with some people studying past life things there. So he really is a scholar and things. So I don't know if you can go there Wednesday, but he'll be doing past life, and he'll be giving an empowerment of the Namcho, and the Namcho is the space tradition, okay? So it'll be cool. Hope you guys can go. See you guys next week. If you want to send me an email, if you're getting something out of these tantric talks, you're welcome to. You don't have to. But if you want to see and that this is really understandable and you're having the experience, okay? And this whole...
Are we meeting Friday and Saturday too?
Yes, we'll meet Friday for meditation, and we'll have Saturday Dakini Day, which is fun. Anybody else want to say anything else? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hasta la vista.
Thank you.
exactly.